Good morning, brothers. Just a little comic relief. It's been a strenuous process for everyone, so just try to lighten the mood a little bit. It's just words. It's not the fit. I do want to say that so the outfit does have some type of connection to how I feel about the interview process we went through. And it makes me feel personally antiquated in how over time my mindset has been stagnated in the traditional processes of the churches of Christ, unfortunately. So I really felt old and slow, like I needed to be placed in some type of Back to the Future vehicle to usher me into now. However, I did enjoy the experiences, especially the Concord experience. I really appreciate the energy there. It was kind of a natural energy of worship. It didn't seem restrained at all. It seemed really free, and I think that is something that we need as well. And Mountain View, of course, is definitely headed along that direction. And I really appreciate that as far as the attitude of their worship goes. They did have some other things that were contrary. However, what I'll speak on today with Concord and probably Grace Place as well is their the congregational size. Of course, Concord was more relegated to maybe a mega church, if you will. I believe we have the notes that they were about 4,000 to 6,000, and 2/3 of those came back from COVID. So it's a pretty large operation, to say the least. Some of the demographics were 95% of their congregation was African American, 5% Hispanic, and I'm not sure if we have a count, but I did personally see maybe 3 Caucasian people there or so. But at any rate, it was a very large group of individuals, which puts them in a position to have more of an effect on their outreach, since that is in place as well. They had really good organizational structure, pretty similar to what we have. Of course, a couple of other paid positions that they've advanced just because of sheer size and operation of what they are presenting as a community church. They have the largest age group there was from 35 to 44, and the young adults was about from 24. The second was age group from 24 to 32, and 10% of the membership was probably under the age of 18 or so. Pretty similar to us, except for the Hispanic population. I'm not sure what they're doing in that regards, but I do appreciate how we've kind of just kicked down the door to open up and allow that community of individuals to participate and worship with us, and of course seeing that mesh even more so. So as it relates to other churches of Christ, I think that we are definitely headed in a direction with track shoes on for sure. Their approach is really aggressive there with community outreach, and I do believe it's sheer number, but we have to give it to their administrative staff. They're in a position to do so, and they're taking advantage of that with the different opportunities that they can use in order to draw in that community in that vicinity. And of course, with the sheer number, of course, again, those individuals tell individuals, they just have more feet on the ground, more boots on the ground, if you will. Once we went over to the Grace Place organization, their church setup was a pretty traditional setup in the sense that the preaching was similar. They did have a choir group, if you will, singing for them, which was a mixed group, men and women. So that was a progressive effort. That's not traditional Church of Christ, if you will. They also had a Hispanic involvement there as well, along with a third aspect. In my, from what I gathered, the third aspect was they had more of a, I'm not going to call it a millennial group or Gen X kind of group, where it was an instrument driven worship service. More of that experience was in the third adjunct of the building. So they had that going on there. So they were progressive in a lot of ways. And of course, someone else is going to speak about their outreach, which was, I believe their outreach was impeccable in the sense that they purchased land specifically for an outreach program helping individuals. Anyway, I'm not sure what the results were of the percentages of retention they had from those particular outreach programs. But at any rate, the church is still moving in a direction where they're making that attempt to reach the community in a very big way. And I think the size of their congregation seemed to be more of the side that we were on, more of about a 90% Caucasian group, baby boomers to Gen X mix, 6% African American, maybe 4% Hispanic. It appeared just on site that it was more of a, I don't want to say complete gathering, although they seem to be positioned to reach more, the minister, to reach more people. It seems like even though the effect was about 6%, I saw about maybe 8 Black people there, 8 African Americans. So I just feel like a white congregation would have a better opportunity of pulling us to that congregation, to a wider congregation than our community pulling white people to, or Caucasians to our worship service. It just seems like they have that advantage. I don't think it doesn't seem like they're taking advantage of it as much as they probably could as we. However, being in this situation where we're evaluating things, it puts us in the mindset of how progressive do we need to be and what can we do to affect the change that we need to make, so that if someone comes and evaluates us, that they will have an evaluation that is more succinct and complete in their renderings of the results. But to summarize that Grace Place, it is statistically positioned better to me. Just the whole feeling of it, it just seemed like it just demographically, even though they didn't have as large of a congregation as we did, it just appeared by feeling that they had more hands in different aspects of the community over there, even though they were smaller. But I do appreciate the position that Mountain View is in, and I can't wait till we are in a position to brainstorm our efforts and putting together different resources so that we can kind of do some guerrilla marketing in the sense to really reach out and target certain groups just to get their involvement. I appreciate the time. Thanks for the team. A really good team. I was probably the least of all of the apostles in this sense, because they were doing a lot of the communication and work in the background and all this. And I appreciate all the help they gave me and allowed me to pick up the tail end of things. But I appreciate it. Great process. And I hope that it goes well, and I hope this was succinct enough to give some information and perspective. Thank you. Bobby Craig. Peace and soul.